Welcome to News 9. I'm Nishtata, and first up, a drunk passenger tried to enter the cockpit of a Virgin Australian plane as it flew from Brisbane to Bali, prompting fears of a hijack. A Virgin spokesman said that there had been a medical emergency involving an unruly passenger. The plane is on the tarmac at Denpasar Airport. An Indonesian Air Force spokesman said all passengers on board are unharmed and are now being evacuated. My colleague Varghese joins us with more details on this. Well, Varghese, quite an odd incident, if we may say so.
It is, in fact, but what happened was the entire eastern section of the Pacific Ocean was, in fact, quite alerted about this matter, and so was towards the Indonesian archipelago. Because of the recent MS-370 instance being in mind, there was these people were all on high alert, and when the plane, there was unruly behavior in the plane, it was immediately communicated to the ground staff, and the Indonesian Air Force took action and immediately got the plane to land at Bali Denpasar Airport. And over there, it is what happened was the army, especially the commandos who were trained for such special purposes, was immediately deployed, and this unruly passenger was brought under control. And but anyway, it created such a fury in the place, and it had sparked off fears of a hijack. And since it came very close to the MS-370, the entire region was alert and ready to take action in case of an incident like this, Nishtata.
Right, and also we understand that the passenger in question has been taken into custody, but do we know if anyone has been injured, anyone harmed in this particular incident, as it has created a new sense of fear in the backdrop of the MH370 crash?
Well, what we understand from the Indonesian army men whose spokesperson is that none of the passengers have been harmed and all of them have been evacuated, and their return will be immediately taken into consideration. So there is nothing to worry about, is what the army officials have said. But however, the passenger will be taken for closer scrutiny. The unruly passenger will be taken for closer scrutiny, and there will be further interrogation with regards to it. But what sparked off the fears was his attempt to, in fact, break into the cockpit, because there were several attempts by him to break into the cockpit that, in fact, sparked off these fears. So at present, the situation is under control, and the passengers will be heading to their particular destination through an alternative route that will be provided by the airlines, Nishita.
Right, thank you for joining us with all those details there, Varghese. In fact, the pilot of a Virgin Australian plane flying to Bali reported a hijacking attempt after a passenger tried to enter the cockpit, and there was a forced landing in Bali, but now it has been clarified that that was not the case. A Virgin spokesman denied the plane had been hijacked and said that the passenger who tried to enter the cockpit was drunk. The spokesman said that the plane incident was a misunderstanding. The airport manager for Virgin Australia also told the media that the passenger was acting aggressively and was handcuffed by the crew. And moving on now, students of different colleges staged a protest in Bengaluru Central College against Bangalore University's decision to hike examination fee for degree and PG courses of the year. They stormed the venue where the syndicate members were holding a meeting to decide on exam fee hike and tackling forgeries, but instead the protest turned violent and the police officials had to be called in to arrest the students. Well, according to the new regulation, the students belonging to backward communities, SC and ST categories are not supposed to take part in protests, and if they are found to be doing so, the fee concession awarded to them by the government would be cut off. Hence, from this academic year onwards, students of these categories have to remit full fee first and later claim the concession from the Department of Social Welfare after submitting a requisition through online forms and get the rebate. Only then their rebate fee would be refunded to them. Students are opposing this rule and want preciously existing system to be brought into force. Today they demanded to abolish the new regulation.
From the past 4 days, from AIDSO Students Organization, we have been asking the VC and registrar to cut down the examination fees. Actually, it was 165 rupees examination fees. Now they have increased it to 2,800 rupees. Can anybody imagine a backward caste student who was paying 165 rupees, suddenly he has to pay 2,800 rupees? So we asked the Vice Chancellor, yesterday we had a protest from AIDSO, day before yesterday, so they are not responding to our call. So we are asking the Vice Chancellor that so much corruption is there in universities. Now all the funds have been eaten off by the corruption. These funds the Vice Chancellor and university want to take it from the common students. What justice they are doing? So here this is Central College, Bengaluru University. Who will come here? All backwards to caste students and basically poor students. So they have to be given exemption. Now the whole game plan is to take off the exemption. They are asking that you must pay 2,800 rupees. Then you must get 60% marks. Then if government or university has funds, we will reimburse it. This we cannot accept. Our demand is it must be retained back to 165 rupees only. And the movement from AIDSO will continue unless our demands are met.
Well, there we have it. In fact, the students demanding that the decision of increasing the fee be revoked, as it has been affecting a lot of students quite adversely, as many of the students coming in from rural communities and backward classes cannot afford the kind of fee that is being demanded by the Bangalore University. Students from AIDSO, the SFI, as well as the Akhila Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad today staged a protest, but the situation turned ugly as the police officials were called in and they were taken into custody. Well, Kannada and Culture Minister Uma Shri may need a bit of luck and all the marks that she can get in her academic pursuit. Uma Shri had managed to secure 43 marks in her PhD in Political Science, as well as 56 marks in her entrance exam, respectively, conducted by the Karnataka State Open University. She appeared for the doctoral program on the 6th of October 2013. The results for the exams were announced on the 4th of November 2013. The criteria then was that the general merit scholars required 55 and reserved categories required 50. After 21 days, the criteria was surprisingly changed to 40 for general merit and 35 for SC/ST students. The minister then gave her viva on the 13th of April. Well, in fact, the criteria for general merit students for the PhD exams was 56%, but even with a lesser marks, there was a sudden shift in the cutoff, and Uma Shri was enabled to answer these exams. And moving on now, domestic violence victim Shilpa has been cremated and the district administration bore the expenses for the funeral. Shilpa has finally got justice in a small way, though. The mother-in-law has been arrested for setting her ablaze after stripping her after being burnt alive by her relatives. Her mother was seen earlier in the day struggling to conduct the funeral ceremony. The district administration then came forward to conduct her final rites. 20-year-old Shilpa, who was set ablaze by her husband's relatives in a domestic dispute, succumbed to severe burn injuries. She was admitted to a private hospital and was in a critical condition. The family of the husband even went absconding, and the husband too is absconding, quite shockingly. And her father Murugesh has now arrived from Tamil Nadu to be part of the final rites. And after much problems and issues, Shilpa has been laid to rest. The 20-year-old who was tortured after her marriage to the love of her life, the in-laws who burnt her alive, and yesterday even as she struggled to bear the pain of the burn injuries, Shilpa breathed her last, and today her mother was seen running from pillar to post to conduct her final rites. But then the district administration came to her rescue after watching the report on News9 and conducted the final rites of Shilpa.